You know, when I have a meeting, I have a rule and it only lasts an hour, but this is not my meeting. This is the state executive committee's meeting, and our state chairman, Scott Golden. So we're gonna start out first with anyone who is an elected official. Would you please just stand up for me, please? That's Bud Armstrong, Carson Daly, James Smith, John Whitehead. Do I know you?
Sherry.
Sherry. You got Sherry.
Ron's back here.
And Ron Williams of Town Fair at Alderman. Okay, y'all be seated. Your state executive committee here is Ted Hatfield, Julia Hurley, and I saw Jane Chester. And there she is. There's Jane. So this is their meeting, and I'll look first. I'll start off by introducing their state party chairman, Scott Golden, and we'll get this party started.
My name is Scott Golden. I'm the chairman of the Tennessee Republican Party. Thank you for inviting me this evening. Of course, my board members, Jane, Julia, Mr. Hatfield, good to see you. Glad you're feeling better. These are the guys that are ultimately my boss, and you've got a great group in Knox County that do a great job of representing you. I like to tell everybody that this is the board of the Tennessee Republican Party, and they are the only position on the ballot that you will vote for that actually costs money. They actually have to spend more money than because they make nothing, and they volunteer their time to make sure that we have a great Republican Party. And so, I usually start off by telling a joke, but honestly, after today's events, it's not really a joking day, quite frankly. I mean, let's call it what it is. As I was driving up here today from Jackson, my first thought is that there is nothing least important in this world than the politics that we play on a daily life. But then my second thought is there's nothing more important than the politics that we play on our daily life. It matters who governs. It matters who sits in these positions. It matters that the party that you're in and the values that you take to the governing that you do. So while we look and pray for the victims of what happened today, and and we actually need to pray on your knees, praying to assuage the guilt and shame and all the the hurt that is going to be there. Let's put our lives in perspective as we move forward in our daily jobs and the politics that is coming up in the 2018 season. So, with that being said, Julie was nice enough. This is our second meeting that we've had. One in Anderson County. We're doing one in Knox, and we're doing one coming up in Loudoun County. Just kind of going over the bylaws. I was asked at a conference a couple weeks ago, they said, well, does the Republican Party have a litmus test for being a Republican? And I said, absolutely not. But we do have standards that we want everybody to apply to. Ultimately, the standards of the Republican Party were written back in 1994 when our party was just established. And quite frankly, Knox was the only Republican county in the state. As somebody from Jackson, I can tell you I've seen a scene change in the last 25 years. So there was effort in the Republican Party, the board of the Republican Party, to heighten the standards. As you guys know, we have an open primary system in the state of Tennessee. We do not register by party. We do not require candidates to pay anything to run for office as other states do. We have 25 signatures to get you on the ballot from county commissioner to the U.S. Senate. 25 signatures. Basically a half hour in front of Walmart. That's the standard in which we need to do. So it being low, the one thing that we can control is the type of people that seek the Republican nomination. And that's what it is, the Republican nomination. So, which we're very fortunate, and we want everybody to seek the Republican nomination, but what we want is people that are involved and people that have a vested interest in seeing the Republican Party move forward. So there were some changes in our last SEC meeting that Mrs. Hurley's going to talk about, but what I wanted to talk about a little bit, two different things. One is the process going forward, and this is kind of, I read enough social media to know that I'm here to pick who's going to run for what office, that I'm here to throw people off out of the ballot and everything else. So as with everything, you believe half of what you see and none of what you read. So, sorry, Tyler, I know that was for you. Tyler and I go way back. We're good friends. I can make fun of Tyler all I need to with the Knoxville News Cinema. So, anyway, but I do want to tell you that there is a process by which all bona fide Republicans can be challenged. And it takes, and these are actually some changes since the 2014 primary, when there was a series of people challenged across the state. We changed it to, if you are challenged for whatever reason, it's going to be, has to be by 2 bona fide Republicans from the district that you're in, okay? If you are challenged, then that information will be sent to the Republican Party. The people that challenge you will be public for the first time ever, by the way. So there's gonna be no anonymous challenges of who you are. So, so everybody will know, and if it's from a rival campaign, that'll be just joined as well. But that information will go to the Tennessee Republican Party Executive Director, Michael Sullivan. Michael Sullivan will give it to one of our subcommittees on the board of the Tennessee Republican Party, the political committee, who will then go back and do the research as to why the effort was. That can only happen, by the way, after November 17th, which will be the first day that local candidates can pick up petitions. I know I've heard that all the state legislative director or the state legislators can't be here tonight because they had a previously scheduled event. All the elections that happen in August and beyond in November, that will happen when they pick up their petition later on in January. So right now, November 17th is the only date that we'll do it. Julie's gonna talk about the bylaws, but once it goes to the political committee will research it and then make a recommendation. And of course, I don't know if we have everybody's email here, but if we could get a copy of it, of whomever's here and would like them, we will personally email you a copy of the Tennessee Republican Party bylaws in your inbox, so you can take a look at the process, just so you're familiar with it. So, that being said, there is, hopefully, everybody, obviously one of the final things is people that will be vouched for. I don't know, Julie, I'll probably just I'll talk about it. Vouched for is somebody that says that you're a bona fide Republican, even though you might not meet the standards, and there are people that can do that. One is your state executive committee members that are here. The other one is your county executive committee members, which are here, and the other one is elected officials. So elected officials, so if you it would not be wise to protest an elected official since they've already served in office for 8 years as Republicans. I assume the voters are smart enough to know that they're either good Republicans or bad Republicans, and that's a choice that the voters get to make. Ultimately, this party is about the voters. They're the ones that get to decide this election. That's who's in charge of these offices. The Republican Party's here to make sure that we present a bunch of qualified candidates, particularly dedicated Republican candidates to the electorate. But ultimately, these offices belong to the people, not us. And that's what we have to respect. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's their decision who makes the decisions that govern their lives. So with that being said, I will turn it over to Ms. Hurley to talk about some of the changes that we've made. But I am, as I say, I'm here as an invitation. I know some of you here, it's great to meet both of you. I'll be around all day. I will let you know that I tell people all the time that we have 632 elected Republicans across the state of Tennessee. 100 of them serve you in Nashville and Washington. The bulk of the Republican Party in the state of Tennessee is at the local level. And that is what our focus is between now and August, will be elections that we can all get behind. Primaries are wonderful. I encourage everybody to pick a candidate, support them, work their heart out for them. But remember this, whether it's May, or more importantly, even if it's August, after the primary is over with, we come together, we support the Republicans, and then we make sure that they get elected. Because the worst Republican is better than the best Democrat. That's what we are about. And the Tennessee Republican Party will be there to assist in technology, everything that we can do. Obviously, over the last week, the game has changed a little bit. We are now the only state in the nation that has an open governor's seat and an open Senate seat. So the Republican Party in August will be a gigantic, probably the largest August turnout in the history of the state of Tennessee. So we're gonna be working to make sure that every Republican comes out and votes, and they all support the Republican candidates that are standing for office. So with that being said, I will be around all afternoon, all evening. If you wanna talk, I'll be happy to talk to anybody individually about any questions that you may have. Thank you all for being willing to A, consider yourself Republicans, and B, put yourself up for office. It is not easy. My previous life, I've worked for Congress for 14 years, and I've seen what it does for members of Congress. It is not easy serving the public. So I appreciate anybody's willingness to raise their hand and say, I want to take a leadership position in this county in order to make the county great again, and make America great again. So with that being said, thank you.